Lavrov's visit portends a strengthening of relations between Moscow and Ouagadougou.
We agreed on the need to accelerate the diversification of trade exchanges, but also the expansion of volumes to conform with the guidelines given by the heads of state. In the agricultural field, some activities are being carried out, with assistance in improving the production and yield of agricultural products. So I would say that from St. Petersburg until this day today, and which comes through the visit of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, a visit which itself is a testimony of the commitment of the two countries to make sure that our relations can be at the level of model cooperation. I would say that our relationship is at a satisfactory level, but promises a better future in the context of the promotion of friendship between our two countries.
Jean-Marie Traoré is the Burkinabe Minister of Foreign Affairs.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Remember, we are live on wadr.org. Back here in Senegal, the government this week announced that it had raised $750 million or 450 billion CFA francs from the Eurobond market. This debt makes Senegal the fourth country in sub-Saharan Africa to use the Eurobond market after Benin, Côte d'Ivoire, and Kenya. The emerging oil and gas producer raised the $750 million of debt, which will mature in 2031 in two tranches at a coupon rate of 7.75%. The original $500 million was sold on Monday and increased by $250 million on Tuesday, according to a spokesman for Senegal's Treasury, who confirmed the amount. Investor confidence in the country was shaken earlier this year when former President Macky Sall postponed elections scheduled for February and soon after triggered mass protests on the streets until elections were held in March. Here is Dr. Suleiman Keita, a Senegalese economist, speaking to WADR about the impact of this bond on the economy.
We have to understand that today we are living in a situation of treasury tensions. The state needed to have income from people to be able to face current expenses, to be able to slow down the level of the treasury, which was not favorable. We came out of an electoral period, and investors who came to invest in the economy were in a position of waiting to see what would happen with the elections. Hence, these investments could not be realized. The result of that is what today created the treasury tension. This situation is generally always probable in the electoral period, as seen in at least for African countries. If you talk about the impact, don't forget that today there is internal and external debt. We live in a situation where the SMEs live largely thanks to their activities with the state. Therefore, a third of the money would allow the state to first pay a part of the external debt, but also the internal debt to give a new blow to these SMEs, which today, according to the ANC, is about 98% of the new economic activity in terms of job creation in Senegal. The Interior Ministry, the PME and PMI today will have relations with the state for which they have been waiting for more than 6 months to be paid, which makes life unbearable for thousands of people. So this amount of money would allow the state to lay a paw on its head or would allow it to restart economic activity.
Dr. Suleiman Keita is a Senegalese economist. Still in Senegal, Article 19, a non-governmental organization that aims to promote freedom of expression and access to information, on June 5 organized a panel on access to information in the era of digitalization. The discussion, which took place in the capital, Dakar, brought together different actors from the government, civil society, and citizens to discuss digitalization of access to information and the challenges of open governance in Senegal. Ogebirika reports.
The panel themed access to information and digitalization in the service of open government. What are the prospects for Senegal seeks to promote the participation of Senegalese citizens in administrative procedures. Alfred Boulakali, Regional Director of Article 19 in Senegal, says This will lead to more effective governance, better public service delivery, and more equitable outcomes.
Some of the key engagement that are set in the National Action Plan is effectively around access to information, transparent fishing, transparent budget, among others. And by implementing these 8 engagements, Senegal will not only improve its governance but create conditions where citizens feel are part of the conduct of public affairs.
Although the Open Government Initiative supports inclusive democracy, Bulakali disclosed it poses various challenges, including the need for a law on digital access to information.
As of now in Senegal, we don't have a law on access to information. Last year there was a bill that was opened and that is currently in the administration cycle before being adopted. The key things we saw was that the digitalization was not taken in account, and there were also other limitations like putting the Commission on Access to Information under an executive, a political and a governmental institution instead of keeping it independent. There were also some limitations around areas where information can't be disclosed were not clearly set. So the advocacy today is if the government can open the bill to public discussion.
Article 19 is joining voices with concerned civil societies and stakeholders to urge the Senegalese government to carry out actions and reforms that will ensure citizens are actively involved in policy-making decisions in the country.
A report filed in by Ogibirika. To Nigeria now, we bring you a report on how the activities of gunmen and kidnappers have put an entire community in constant fear. Known as Peggy, the rural community in the Kuje Area Council of Nigeria's capital, Abuja, is facing numerous challenges. There were 17,000 people who reside in this community live in constant horror of attacks by gunmen locally known as bandits. W. Arias Usman Umar in Abuja completes the story.
Make sure you are out of that place before the sun sets. A security personnel familiar with the terrain warned. Colleagues familiar with the area echoed the same warning.
I used to tell my husband that we need to pack out about this place. Because, you know, when you go out, instead of you to put your mind where you go to, you can't keep your mind down. Before you leave there, people that is around there, they will be telling you that, you know, that the road is very bad because of kidnapper.
We cannot work the way we've been working before. At times we can enter here 11 o'clock, at times 11:30. But once it is 7 like this, we won't be able to just be in a hurry that let me quick enter my house before they will come and kidnap.
They kidnap people for road, our loved ones for victory. It's not really easy for us, no fito, because that year 2015, I have my last speaking. I fall down for road with pregnancy. When I did come back, the road was very bad. Kidnapper. If you come out by 5, you never enter here. You know the greatest of man.
The 14-kilometer access road into the village from Kuje town has been under construction in the last 9 years. But this road is not the only challenge confronting the people.
Did not have market. Over 8 years now, they collected 49,000 naira from us that they are giving us market. I'm a living witness. I have my paper. The 49,000 naira up till now, nothing happened.
About school, seriously, they need any help for that. Primary school, secondary school, always we need help. So we don't have any education for our children.
The community is, however, calling for urgent help from the government. Peggy, to an unsuspecting mind, epitomizes a serene, communal setting where Nigerians of different tribes and religions cohabit peacefully. But everyone here, including me, dread the sunset. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, Usman Umar, reporting from Abuja.
Meanwhile, the Niger State Police Command in north-central Nigeria has revised the death toll from a gold mine collapse that occurred on Monday. An earlier statement from the State Emergency Management Agency late Tuesday confirmed 1 person was killed and 30 others trapped. However, after a visit to the site located in the Galkogo community in the Shiroro district of the state, The police commissioner confirmed additional deaths, bringing the total number of people killed to 20. Shaulu Mama said 14 more people are still trapped and awaiting rescue. The police commissioner, during his inspection, found that operators of the collapsed mining site operated without regard to safety measures and the welfare of the laborers. The incident, which happened on Monday, was believed to have been caused by the torrential rains, which softened the soil, allowing the mine to cave in. You are listening to Newslink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Here's a reminder of our top stories. The Ivorian government hands over the bodies of victims of the 2010 to 2011 post-electoral crisis to their families after more than a decade. Russia's Foreign Minister Lavrov ends his visit to Burkina Faso with a promise of additional military support in the fight against terrorism. The Peace and Security Council of the African Union denounces assertions that security in the Sahel is deteriorating. Residents of a small Nigerian community dread their lives daily as terrorist attacks threaten their livelihoods. Still ahead in the news, we have the press review, guest interview, and sports update. Please stay with us.
You are listening to West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal.
Remember, we are live on wadr.org. Let's take you to Liberia now, as the judiciary branch of the government has described the allocation of $20 million by the legislature as its share of the 2024 national budget as a gross disrespect and inequality, hence they have rejected it. The formulation of the national budget process starts with the executive branch of government and is later submitted to the legislature for scrutiny and appropriation, hence the allotment to the judiciary.
This is the newspaper review. Stay abreast and find out what the top stories are in your country.
This is the newspaper review.
The newspaper review.
On today's press review segment, Nadiri Tete Nakra provides us with a brief of major and banner headlines from the Ghanaian national dailies.
Let's find out what the dailies are reporting today. We'll start off with the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Front page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper, outcome of South Korea Africa Summit. Ghana secures $2 billion financial deal to implement key projects over a 5-year period. Also on the front page, Lands Minister inaugurates 5 million Ghana cedis ultra-modern Akim Oda Minerals Commission office complex. And the final story here, retain part of profit in Ghana, Asante to mining companies. To the Daily Guide newspaper now, front page, 2024 elections, Baumia leads Mahama in survey. Also here, fire guts structures at Circle. Other stories here, the National Lottery Authority hosts European lotteries, and that'll be it for the Daily Guide newspaper. Chronicle, the front page, SML GRA contract did not need parliamentary approval. That's according to the majority leader, Kwamena Apenyo marking. Also here on the front page, Baumia is the preferred candidate, leads Mahama in Northeast and Central region. To the Insight newspaper, front page, stop complaining, economic hardship global. The story is attributed to the Vice President and flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. Other stories here, planned sale of SNIT hotels to Minister. Ablakwa insists state stands to lose hugely as he gives blow-by-blow account of other details. That'll be it for the Inside newspaper. Now to the Daily Statesman newspaper front page. Baumia leads poll as preferred presidential candidate. Also here on the front page of the Daily Statesman newspaper, Accra to host 2024 Global Conference on the International Day for Universal Access to Information, IDUAI. Other stories here on the front page of the Daily Statesman newspaper, $2 billion deal sealed with Korea to drive development. The Daily Post newspaper front page, Mahama will win 2024 election. That's according to a leading member of the party, Guzi Tano. Would end with the Daily Graphic newspaper front page. Parliament stakeholders agree on timely release of NHIS funds. Scheme owed 2.4 billion Ghana cedis. Also here, Ghana Korea signed $2 billion deal to drive development agenda, and 6 billion Ghana cedis invested in TVET. That's according to the director. And that'll be it for the newspaper review segment. With me, Nadidi Tete, is back to you in the studio.
Politics,
analysis on major news,
social matters, and all. This is a guest.
Article 19, a non-governmental organization that aims to promote freedom of expression and access to information, on Thursday organized a panel on access to information. The discussion, which took place in the Senegalese capital, Dakar, brought together different actors from the government, civil society, and citizens to discuss digitalization of access to information and the challenges of open governance in Senegal. The panel, entitled Access to Information and Digitalization in the Service of Open Government, What Are the Prospects for Senegal?, encourages the participation of citizens in administrative procedures. Alfred Boulakali, Regional Director of Article 19 in Senegal, says the strategy will lead to more effective governance, better public service delivery, and more equitable outcomes.
Senegal is already member of the Partnership for Open Government since 2018. The implementation now of the different engagement in the frame of open government will simply enable to increase the public transparency. Some of the key engagement that are set in the National Action Plan is effectively around access to information, transparent fishing, transparent budget, among others. And by implementing this, Senegal will not only improve its governance, but create conditions where citizens are part of the conduct of public affairs.
Now, speaking of the citizens being able to access these administrative procedures publicly, what will it mean for them?
You know that citizen participation is a key right for the public to engage in the way they are ruled and to make good decisions regarding the right, regarding the choice of their leaders. The population need to get better informed. Also, by enabling those in charge of public affairs to disclose the public information, this will not simply enable to have citizens informed, but also to strengthen the transparency in public administration and also private sector, especially for those in charge of questions of public interest. It increases the prevention of corruption and increases the trust between the government and citizens.
How feasible is this open government strategy, especially as there is no existing law that allows for digitalization of information, that is administrative information, for public access?
As of now in Senegal, we don't have a law on access to information, and that's why we are continuously advocating for that. Last year there was a bill that was opened, and that is currently in the administration cycle before being adopted. But as key things we saw was that the digitalization was not taken in account, and there were also other limitations like putting the Commission on Access to Information under an executive, a political, and a governmental institution instead of keeping it independent. There were also some limitations around areas where information can't be disclosed. I mean vague terms under security or public order. What is needed is clearly to have a definition or a mention of what can't be disclosed. So as citizens who have to request information tomorrow are clear on what they can request and what they can't request. So the advocacy is if the government can open the bill to public discussion to enable civil society and all stakeholders to bring inputs in this bill so as they can take in account this necessity of integrating digitalization in the access to information.
That was Alfred Boulakali, Regional Director of Article 19, a non-governmental organization promoting freedom of expression and access to information. Up next is a sports update with Sankule Janko.
Hello out there, a warm welcome and thank you for joining us.
It's been exactly 10 years since recent Crown African champions Côte d'Ivoire competed at the FIFA World Cup. The Elephants' 3 FIFA World Cup appearances to their name: Germany 2006, South Africa 2010 and Brazil 2014, all ending in the group stages of the Global Soapies. Fresh from lifting the holy grail of African football on home soil, confidence is high in the West African Giants camp as they prepare to resume their FIFA World Cup 2026 qualifiers in March Day 3 and 4 this week, according to CAF official website. The Elephants, who led the pack in Group F, welcome Gabon to Korhogo on Friday 7 June before traveling to Malawi, where they will be away to Kenya on Tuesday 11 June. Having missed out on Russia 2018 and the recent Qatar 2022, all eyes will be on the African champions to not qualify but represent Africa strongly against the best in the world. The new-look Elephant side under the tutelage of Ivorian legend Emas Faye, who turned his nation's fortunes around in what was almost a dismal show at the CAF AFCON, made a strong start to the qualifiers last year with commanding wins over Seychelles and the Gambia that see them top of the group. With the FIFA World Cup now expanded to 48 nations and Africa being guaranteed 9 spots and a playoff opportunity, the reigning African champions will be looking at making a strong return to the global soapies. Exciting talents such as Simon Adingra and experienced campaigners such as Sebastian Haller and Sekou Fofana will also be looking at continuing their rich vein of form in the national colours. We'll surely hope to see this Elephant side in the 2026 World Cup surely. And that's it for sports. It's back to you.
And with that, we've come to the end of this edition of Newslink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening, and many thanks to David Vincent and Kristen Mukidi for the technical support. Do interact with us via social media platforms, X, formerly Twitter, Instagram at WADR News, and on Facebook, WADR English Service. Coming up at the bottom of the hour is WADR's Environment Program, Enviroscope, to be followed at the top of the hour of 1 p.m. by Info Chevu, the news in French. I'm Abdullahi Hassan. Good afternoon.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM, Newmi FM 94.0,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County.
Radio Kagama 94.5 FM, Nibe County, DCN Radio 91.3 FM, Riverside County, Wakat FM Radio, Banga, Liberia, Radio Baf FM 91.3 Sierra Leone.
For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.